Every day you wake up now, there's anxiety there, isn't it? What's going to happen now? How has the world changed? What is the latest thing that you have to deal with? Every single day, it seems the world is turning upside down. Things are volatile. Things are uncertain. Everything is so complex and it's all ambiguous. Where do you even start to keep your head above water when nothing seems to be in your control? And others are often counting on you, aren't they, for support? How do you get ahead when the ground is changing and different every single day? I'm Ravi Tangri, and this is SOULgineering Your Life and Work, where we're bringing you simple, powerful processes that allow you to bring more of your heart and soul into your work, into your life, all aspects of what you do. Now, we went through a lot of chaos and change during the pandemic. There's a lot of things we didn't think we could get through. Things like the lockdowns, things like working from home, so much other stuff, challenges that we faced. But you know what? We made it through. And yet, 2025 has somehow made those challenges almost seem small because it seems like every single day when you wake up, you're tense, you're anxious to see how things have shifted. What's the chaos today that we have to deal with? You don't know what's coming. And it's like there's that latent anxiety there always. What's going to happen today? What's going to happen tomorrow? How do you adapt to it? And things are so volatile, so uncertain, so complex, so ambiguous. How do you keep your head above water? And even when there isn't some new crazy news that you have to deal with or wonder how you're going to deal with, it's running through your head, isn't it? Oh my God, what's happening? How do I do this? What if this happens? And it can make you toss and turn all night. You're not being able to sleep. You're not being able to get the rest you need to be resourceful. And sleep is the number one builder of resilience. What adds to this, from what I've heard from a lot of my listeners, from a lot of my clients, is that often others are counting on you, whether it is people in your family, your friend circle, or people at work, because they're dealing with all this chaos and they look to you for support. So how do you have the resources to help them figure out how to get ahead when the world is literally shifting every single day? Well, what I want to bring you is some simple ways that allow you to get a little bit of control back, a little bit of sense of, okay, here's where I can actually find some ground and find a way to move forward. And very simple little Jedi mind tricks that can make a huge difference to help you move forward. So let's start off with this. What you have to do is be aware, first of all, what's happening. And this little simple little exercise here I could give you. If you are, don't do this if you're driving, but as long as you're not driving or operating machinery, take a look around you and pick out everything that you can see that's red. It could be clothing, it could be signs, whatever you can see that's red. Try to spot every last tiny little thing that's red. Okay? And now work with me. As long as you're not driving or operating machinery, close your eyes. Come on, play with me for a moment. Just close your eyes for just a moment. And while your eyes are closed, name three things that are blue around you. What happened? Usually it's pretty hard, even if you're wearing blue. So what's going on here? You're focused on the red. All you're doing is seeing red. Now, if you think of all the things going around around the world, are you concerned with all of them? No, of course not. So you could draw a circle around all the things that you're concerned about, a red circle, let's say, and everything in the circle are the things that you are concerned or worried about, or that you find are important to you in some way. Now, of all the things you're concerned about, can you control or influence all of them? No, there would be a much smaller circle. Let's make that a blue circle of the things you can control or influence. We'll call that the circle of influence. Now, if you are in the habit of looking at the red as you just did, what happens to the blue circle? Guess what? It shrinks. So all you start to see is red, all the things that you're concerned about that you can't do anything about. And when that happens, you start feeling more stressful, more out of control, more helpless. That stress response goes up and up and up. Now, this is perception. There's nothing less that's in your control, but you've built a habit of seeing red. What I want to bring you is set of simple habits that help you see the blue. So the blue circle starts to grow. And what happens is your sense of personal power grows. The personal power is your perceived sense of control over yourself and what's happening around you. And as that grows, your resilience grows, your stress drops. Okay. The thing is, when you are stressed, you've got to realize this is not just a simple rational response. There's an emotional and potentially addictive response here. Every time we have a stress response, and it's not necessarily a huge one, even stresses over minor things, your body catalyzes over 30 hormonal changes, 1,300 chemical changes that poison your body. And some of these last for hours. The other thing about the stress response is it shuts down your brain. This is the fight or flight response. When the saber-toothed tiger was coming down, there was no time to do a cost benefit analysis of different alternatives. You either ran or you froze and hoped that he didn't see you. It's that simple. Your brain is not required, so you're not resourceful. And then you're locked in that stress response. And with those chemical and hormonal changes, I believe there's an addictive factor there. Your body gets hooked on that. It's that buzz, almost like a caffeine high on steroids. And as much as you hate it, it's like part of you doesn't want to stop that because you're hooked on those drugs that your body is producing. Now, here's the good side of this news. When you focus on the things that bring you joy, that bring you peace, your body also catalyzes a different set of hormonal chemical responses that heal your body, that build your immune system, that build your resources, that make you a lot more resilient. But the key is getting in the habit of doing that. Now, we're not talking about making massive changes here because that can be intimidating. Guess what? That adds to the stress and you just get caught in a spiral that just keeps going down. We're talking about very simple changes. And if you want to break that cycle of stress against all of the volatility, the uncertainty, the complexity, the ambiguity, there's two steps that I find are essential in doing this. First of all, is a way to get rid of all the stuff that's running through your head, to vent all of that. Because a lot of people find that when they're under stress, you're either playing worst case scenarios or worrying that head talk, that monkey mind, that head chatter does not stop, and it adds to the stress. Your body doesn't know the difference between what you're imagining through thoughts in your head and what you're actually experiencing. So just imagining these worst case scenarios produces the same stress and poisons and toxins in your body as actually experiencing them, even if they never ever happen in real life. So we need to be able to vent that, to let that go. There's a few simple ways that you can do that to start to let go of that. One is what I call a venting journal. And this is very different from a journal. If you journal, this is a different book. And what I recommend is a coil bound scribbler. This is where you just write down all the things that are going through your head, all the frustrations, all the worries, all the anger, all the helplessness, all that stuff that's running through your head. You write it down and just dump it in there. And when you're done, you rip it up and throw it away. It's funny. I have a resilience program where we go into an organization several times, once every week or two, with different modules so that we build on the tools and we hold people accountable. They set goals at the end of each session and we check in. How did it work the next session? And I gave this technique, I remember, to this group, and this one woman comes back the next week and she goes, I hate you for telling me this. She got up one night and her head was just going through crazy stuff. And she apparently went through like 3 scribblers, just venting and venting, writing letters that to people, not sending them, but just writing as if to get it out of her head and tearing it all up. It took her hours. But the thing is, once it was out, it felt so good. It was actually out and she was able to let it go. Now, you can take the venting journal a step further by tying it into an indigenous ceremony called the burning bowl. And what that is, when you rip it up, you have a metal container and you take it somewhere where it's safe to burn, where there's not a lot of wind, something underneath it to protect from the heat. And you burn all that stuff, all of that ripped up paper. And as it burns, you just feel all of that energy, all that stuff, all those thoughts going into that fire and burning up. And once it's cooled down, you take those ashes and you either bury them or you release them in the ocean and just let it go. It's amazing how cathartic this is. This is a ritual, and our minds, our souls love rituals. So that's one way to vent. Another is to use your lifeline and call a friend. And you call your friend and say, look, we're going to go for a walk. We're going to go grab a coffee. We're going to go grab a beer. I am going to vent. You're not going to fix my problems. You're going to just sit there and smile and listen. And I'm just going to go bleh and just get it out. And once again, it feels so much better. The other thing to deal with all of that stuff that's there, I'll give you at the end the free Jedi mind trick that I've got on how to actually shut off that self-talk. I've found absolutely zero value for that self-talk. Usually all it does is keep you up at night and beat you up and build anxiety. The only value I've found is in the grocery store when you're comparing 2 items and you're thinking about which is the better one for you. The rest of the time, it really helps to be able to just shut it off just like that anytime you want. So I'll give you the link at the end to the free resource for that will show you how to do that whenever you want. So that's step 1, to shut off all of that self-sabotage that's going on in your head, vent it, turn it off, whatever. Second is now to start to find small ways to build a center, a ground that you can stand on, that you can breathe, where you can start to say, okay, here's where I am, here's what I can do, here's what I can influence, this is how I can move forward. This is how I can be more resourceful so that I can support others. So there's a few different things that you can do here. One, you're probably not going to like this, but to step away from all social media before bedtime, for an hour or two before bedtime, so that that stuff is not going in your head. And also when you see things posts that are talking about things that are happening, it agitates you. Guess what? It triggers the stress response. So it's, good to be aware of things, but the more you focus on it, the more you drive yourself down that rabbit hole, and this stress spiral downwards. So minimize your social media, especially before bed, so that you can have a much more restful sleep, so you can be more resourceful. Then it's to find those places, to find that center. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it's to break that stress cycle, that addictive cycle, so that your body can get some of the healing chemicals. If you meditate, that is a wonderful resource to do, but there's many forms of meditation and presence. You don't have to do a formal just sitting and meditation. You can take walks in nature. I find nature is amazingly healing, and it's a way, especially near the ocean or near water of some sort. It's a way of just letting a lot of that stuff go. If you have kids, especially little kids or grandkids, it's amazing. You don't have time to be in that place because they are so focused on play. Let them teach you how to be present and how to play. There's many other ways too for mindfulness. Runners talk about the runner's high when they get there. For me, dance is a mindfulness practice, because when I'm dancing, even if it's a crazy fast salsa, I cannot be thinking about anything else because I'm a lead. I am choreographing in that instant, out what to do based on the music. And so I have to be totally present with the music and my partner, and a little bit aware of the dance and floor craft around me, so I'm not running into anybody else. But there's no space. And there's so many times where I've had a very intense, stressful day, and I go dancing, and all of a sudden, all of that lifts. So whatever it is that allows you to be present, to be focused, to force you there, it makes a huge difference in breaking that cycle. Plus, if it's something that you love, like I love dance, it helps bring in all of those healing, the joyful chemicals. Time with friends, as long as you are not talking about all of the caca that's going on in the world. If you get together with them, say, this is our time for us. We're not going to be getting into this and this and this and that and that. We are just focusing on us. Now, here's the thing about these times. People say we don't have time to do this. And I'm not talking huge amounts of time, a few minutes here and there. When you are going home from work, to take a few minutes, maybe just to walk around the block. If you are going to the grocery store, take a moment, stop at the park and just take a little walk through. Spend a little bit of time with your kids where you can be fully present with them. Meditation doesn't have to be, it's not hours and hours. If you have a regular practice, 10 or 15 minutes even can make a huge difference. It's small little bits of times, but it's really important to schedule those first, cancel them last, because we also often go, okay, I got to do this and this. I don't have time. I'll get to that. Because it's not critical we do it this minute. If we did it later in the day, that's fine. But guess what? It never happens later in the day. So when you have those moments, put reminders in your phone. This is the time. If you are at work, make sure you make time for lunch to get away from your desk. Don't just eat at your desk. I've done these programs for 3 decades, and I've challenged people, like those resilience programs. I've said, for 1 week, I'm a scientist, let's test it. For 1 week, take lunches where you actually leave your desk and maybe go out as well for a walk. Take breaks in the morning and afternoon. And I guarantee you, your productivity will be better at the end of the week. And a week later, when they come back to me, 100% come back sheepishly saying, yeah, they got more done when they took the breaks. We delude ourselves into thinking we don't have the time to do this. It is a total, complete, utter delusion. Science has shown that productivity tanks if you do not take regular breaks. Your brain does not work well. So schedule these breaks in, make that time just a few minutes, put reminders in, do not cancel them. And it doesn't have to be hours. It's a few minutes a day. It makes a huge difference. You will get a lot more productive. Other things you can do is to get support from your partner, from friends, from family. When you start a new habit, it's been shown that if you want to get into fitness, to go to the gym, to start running, it works to have a buddy, to have that accountability, to have that support. So find someone who will work with you and help each other, hold each other accountable for doing these things. Now, if you're feeling the stress at a much higher level, then maybe you do want to work with a coach or a counselor to start to break those patterns or habits of busyness, of stress, where you're perpetually living in stress. This is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. The most effective people, the most effective leaders I've ever worked with always get support when they need it. Trying to do it all by yourself is a sign of weakness, and it is also the stress response trying to keep you in that stress spiral and in that addiction to stress. If you really want to break that habit, get support from buddies, from friends, from family, or get some professional support so that you can really make lasting change. If you want to make change, that support is huge. It's what we often need. I've often needed that support. I wasn't able to get through certain challenges on my own, and I needed that support to help me through that. So those are some simple ways. I wouldn't try to do them all. I've given you a few. I would pick one or two. Find one way to vent, and then find one way to find center, to find more presence once a day in your life. It will make a huge impact. Just do this regularly for a week or two, and you will see the difference it makes in your mindset, in your sleep, and in how you wake up, where you can wake up without the anxiety, without that stress ready to go, but instead be a lot more resourceful, a lot more present, and a lot more able to do what you have to do and support those you need to support.
Check it out, check it out. Are you ready for this?
As I mentioned to you, I have Jedi mind trick that lets you completely shut off that self-sabotaging self-talk whenever you want, easily and effortlessly. And I've got a free e-course where you can learn how to do that within a week. It takes about 15 minutes a day, and that is not 15 minutes all in one time. It's like a minute here, a minute there, and 10 minutes in one spot. And within a week, you will be able to just shut that self-talk off whenever you want, so that you can shut it off when you're going to sleep to have a much more restful sleep. You can shut it off after something might go wrong, so that you're not beating yourself up. You can shut it off when you're getting ready for something and all that's happening is the anxiety and the worry and all that self-sabotaging stuff, so that you can focus on the things that actually make you resourceful and move the needle. So to access this, all you have to do is go to silenceselftalk.com, and it's available for you for free. Join me and then let me know how it works for you.
I got the energy, it's all I need to feel.